Welcome to this explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled you're here today because, well, we're looking at a massive shift in the global entertainment landscape. Netflix has been building its presence in South Africa for over a decade, sure, but right now, in 2026, something truly wild is happening. South African stories aren't just finding a local audience anymore, they are literally taking over the world. So today, we're going to dive deep into the specific strategies, the massive successes, and, of course, the looming challenges behind this local content revolution. Let's see exactly how Mzansi is capturing the globe's attention.
Okay, let's dive into this. 27.6 million. That is the staggering number of views the South African supernova, The Polygamist, has racked up since it dropped on June 12, 2026. To put that into perspective for you, this 22-episode drama didn't just, perform well. It became an absolute, undeniable, global sensation right out of the gate. It's the biggest story in streaming this year, and it begs a pretty massive question. How exactly did a highly specific local production manage to capture tens of millions of viewers across the globe so fast?
Well, the secret to this global appeal comes straight from executive producer Gugu Zuma and Kube over at Stained Glass Productions. The show is set against the very specific, very African backdrop of polygamy. Now, you might be thinking a hyper-local setting like that would alienate international viewers, right? But Zuman and Kube points out the exact opposite. She noted that the more authentic they were to that culture, the more universally appealing and relatable the underlying human themes became. It just proves that global audiences aren't looking for watered-down stories. No, they want a genuine window into different worlds.
And wow, the data absolutely backs up that strategy. Just by mid-July, audiences had devoured 223.2 million hours of this series. Think about that. It hit #1 in 21 different countries and smashed its way into the top 10 in 62 territories. We're talking massive markets here: the US, the UK, Brazil. It actually stayed on the global top 10 non-English list for 7 consecutive weeks, which is the longest run ever for any South African title on the platform. And honestly, my favorite part of this whole shebang is the ripple effect. It completely revived author Sue Nyathi's literary career. Her original 2012 novel, which the show is based on, saw its sales triple almost overnight, and that pushed her other works right up the bestseller list too.
Section 1. A billion rand strategy, funding the boom.
Now, what's really interesting here is the sheer scale of this commitment. It's staggering. Between 2021 and 2024, Netflix spent R4 billion on local film and television productions in South Africa. That's roughly 1 billion rand every single year. Thanks to this massive injection of capital, South Africa has been officially singled out by the platform as a breakout market. And it feeds into a much larger global trend for the company, where non-English titles now make up more than a third of all viewing globally. They bet big on the region, and honestly, the return on that investment is fundamentally changing global viewing habits.
This R4 billion investment has birthed a truly diverse portfolio. We've seen massive original hits like Blood and Water and Queen Sono. We've even seen global mega productions shoot down there, like One Piece, which, by the way, remains the biggest production in Africa to date in terms of scale and budget. But they're also targeting hyper-local audiences with projects like the Afrikaans rom-com Braid van die Jaar. And perhaps most notably, they forged a landmark partnership to stream E.TV's daily drama The Four of Us within 24 hours of its traditional broadcast. Benham Adassone, the VP of Content for Middle East and Africa, was super excited about this specific deal, calling it a major new chapter in bringing top South African storytelling directly to their members.
Section 2. Nurturing new local talent, building the pipeline.
You see, it's not just about funding shows, it's about the people making them. In June 2026, Netflix launched a brilliant initiative called Screencraft Pathways, teaming up with the Gauteng Film Commission and KZN Tourism. They selected 14 young South Africans and placed them into paid 12-month below-the-line mentorships. And these aren't just your standard introductory classes. These creatives are embedded right inside the country's most prolific production and post-production companies. We're talking heavy hitters: Burnt Onion, Quizzical Pictures, The Refinery, Midnight VFX, and Gambit Films. They're getting mentored by working pros on active, high-stakes productions.
And to show just how committed they are to building this pipeline, the program has already been promptly renewed for a second cohort in 2027. This isn't just a quick PR stunt either. It perfectly aligns with the South African government's Youth Month's theme, the year of putting young South Africans to work. So it's a very clear long-term commitment to ensuring the next generation of storytellers and technical crews are fully ready to handle the huge volume of global productions landing on their shores.
Section 3. The streaming battlefield, market share and pricing.
Because despite all these incredible successes, the battlefield itself is incredibly tight. If we look at the first quarter of 2026, Netflix holds a very narrow lead with a 26% market share, but Amazon Prime Video is right there in their rearview mirror, practically drawing level at 25%. Now, what's truly fascinating to me is the art house platform Mubi. They've captured an unexpected 17% of the market, wildly outperforming how they usually do in other global regions. Meanwhile, the homegrown platform Showmax is trailing just a bit, at 15%, while it goes through transitions from its parent company. So yeah, it is a crowded, fiercely competitive space.
And right in the middle of this intense competition, pricing strategy is literally everything. Let's walk through those mid-2025 price hikes. The mobile plan bumped up from $49 to $59. The standard plan saw an increase from $159 to $179, and the premium tier jumped from $199 to $229 a month. But check out the basic plan. They strategically kept that one completely untouched at $99 per month. This ensures there's still an accessible entry point for cost-conscious consumers in a tightening economy. And honestly, with all the subscription fatigue going around lately, I'm sure that's something a lot of us can appreciate.
But consumers are clever, right? And finding the right partnerships is key. Let me explain this very specific number, R498.50. Back in May 2026, MultiChoice introduced a bill-splitting feature that created a fantastic little loophole for viewers. If two households split a single R799 DSTV Stream Premium bill, and then each household adds their own R99 Netflix Basic plan, the total out-of-pocket cost drops to just under $500 per household. It's a super creative way viewers are managing that exact subscription fatigue while still getting their hands on premium traditional broadcast and leading streaming content. So, with brilliant subscriber strategies, massive global hits, and billions invested, their momentum seems pretty unstoppable. But I want you to pause and consider the looming storm clouds. What could actually disrupt this incredible growth trajectory? Well, the answer lies heavily in a complex web of regulatory hurdles currently being debated. First up, we have the Independent Communications Authority of South Africa, or ICASA. They're launching a market inquiry to understand exactly how over-the-top services are impacting traditional broadcasting revenues. Second, there's the fair share argument being pushed by major telecom networks like MTN and Vodacom. They're basically arguing that massive data drivers like Netflix should contribute financially to the upkeep and upgrading of the country's network infrastructure. And finally, there's a proposed draft white paper discussing local content quotas and operating licenses for global platforms making over $50 million annually. These are incredibly complex market debates, and however they resolve, it's going to significantly shape the future of streaming in the region.
And then, sometimes the hurdles are just surprisingly quirky administrative ones. For instance, in June 2026, a massive billboard promoting The Polygamist was abruptly taken down by the city of Johannesburg. Naturally, the rumors started flying immediately. But the city was quick to clarify that this was strictly a bylaw compliance issue, just some missing municipal approvals. It had absolutely nothing to do with censorship or the show's actual content. Just a minor yet highly publicized bump in the road.
Which brings us to the ultimate question. We've seen the R4 billion triumphs. We've seen the 27 million views. But we've also seen Prime Video trailing by a single percentage point and heavy regulatory debates on the horizon. The real test now is whether Netflix's incredible momentum can outpace fierce rivals and these mounting regulatory storms. It's a fascinating crossroads for the business of entertainment, for sure. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep asking those big questions and keep analyzing the data.